Evening, day 34, February 3rd. Okay, so good news and bad news. Good news, I got my phone taken care of. Yay for helpful tech support workers. You guys rock. Everybody who works in support and service positions, society wouldn't function without you. You remember that. The bad news, it's First Fridays and in February, and this month's book I'll be reading is Harry Potter. I had it. The first one, Sorcerer's Stone. This book blurb, unlike January's, had the added highlight of knowing how the series ends, more or less. Spoiler alert, I've never actually read them and only seen the first 5 or so movies and snippets here or there of the other ones, later ones as they've come on TV. There's actually a running joke in my house that Freeform or ABC Family, as it once was known, it's not Freeform, it's the Harry Potter channel, because those movies are on all the time. But I digress. Thanks to the glorious gossip of the internet, I know what happens and who dies and all that fun spoilery stuff. Luckily for me, my mentality is it's not about the destination, it's about the small moments along the way. Now, I'm also not a young adult, so I doubt it'll have the same reaction as people who grew up with Harry Potter. Nothing against your nostalgia or anything. No, I didn't particularly care for it. The language was very simple. As you know, it is a children's book. On the plus side, this makes it easy to let your imagination just kind of wander off and run wild with scenery and fight scenes, scenery and events. That, in this aspect, I would definitely say that the books are better than the movies. You can just fit so much more detail in them to begin with. And assuming Rowling maintains the same pacing and language throughout the series, it would turn out to be a very descriptive and imaginative book. Unfortunately, this leads me to my next hang-up. I am aware that she had a period of dark circumstances that clearly affected her writing. I'm only about 200 or so pages in. That's like halfway into the first book, so I can't speak from definitive personal experience. Only hearsay, but I'm guessing that those events affected more than just plot lines. I can't say whether it was a good or bad effect on the quality of content. I don't know. Who knows? As a kid, I read mostly mythologies and space operas, with the occasional book about talking animals in anthropomorphic societies. Magic isn't really my cup of tea. By the time Harry Potter came out, I had already developed a sense of what I liked and had methods for quickly reviewing a book I'd read. I'd read the first page and the last page. Read the first page. Read the last page. What are the chances that the last sentence or whatever is going to spoil it for you? And even then, I refer you to my previous mentality. And then I'd read a few paragraphs here and there in between. I'd skim for foul language. I mean, come on, I was only 10. And syntax, grammatical structure. And I point blank refused to read first person limited present tense books. That's where the protagonist doesn't know what's going on outside of their own viewpoint, and where they speak in present tense, like I am going to the store, instead of John thought that it was a good idea that he should go pick up something from the store, which is more of future perfect or past perfect. But I digress. Not my cup of Earl Grey tea. And the opening paragraphs didn't really grab my attention, and the sentences were simple and slow, meaning I could tear through them at breakneck speed. Like, I read, it's many, many years later, but I read this first 200 pages in like an hour. Again, I'm only halfway through the first book and I haven't even met my favorite characters yet, Luna and Neville. And I never understood the fascination with this kid who was only in the wrong place at the wrong time through no fault of his own because he was an infant. Now, on the other hand, the duality of soul and destiny between Harry and Voldemort is really interesting, but only as a passing interest. I'd prefer to read about the enemy characters who are able to find their strength because of their friends. I'm describing Luna and Neville. I think a lot of the appeal of the series is the nostalgia we place on things as we've grown up. We protect those critical influences from our childhood. We create the legend of a hero from ordinary man. We romanticize a time when we think things were simpler. But really, that's just a fallacy. It's a false statement. It's a false belief. Things have always been complicated, and this has far-reaching effects beyond just literature and childhood nostalgia. We think that we place the past up on a pedestal and romanticize it, idolize it, thinking that the times now are better, when in fact they're just different. They're different circumstances, so of course people are going to react differently. There are going to be new factors to consider that people even 50 years ago didn't have to consider. Like, oh my gosh, what's Twitter? Twitter didn't even exist 10 years ago. Did it? I don't know. And it only recently became so incredibly popular and used so frequently. But that's not really the topic of this video. We build them up to something idyllic and unattainable. These heroes, these protagonists, these childhood monuments. I went into this book with eyes unclouded. I can see its appeal. It just didn't appeal to me. Now, let's discuss. Right? Tell me about your memories of Harry Potter and reading the books. What you liked, what you didn't like, what your favorite bits were. In the comments below. Well, until next time, take care.